Hey, what's going on today, guys? It's Trey. Welcome back to the channel, and as always, welcome back to sunny, beautiful Germany. Today, I actually wanted to share with you my first experience visiting a German doctor's office. So stay tuned and let's get into it. So first things first, I'm sure you guys are probably wondering, Trey, where on earth have you been? You have fallen off the map. Let me explain myself. So we went to Switzerland a few weeks ago, and we ended up getting really sick. My wife had COVID, my son had COVID, and I had COVID. Unfortunately, COVID hit me the hardest out of all of us. I was bedridden, I couldn't move, my back was sore. I got really wrecked by this virus. I'd never had it before, this is my first time, but man, it really hit me hard. And then after that, I ended up having a really bad bout with allergies. So I'm already allergic to a lot of different things on this planet, unfortunately. And being here in an entirely new place, my body has basically experienced shock being in this new and unique place that is so different from where I come from. So my body has just been wrecked over the last few weeks. I'm starting to get a little bit better. I'm definitely starting to take care of myself more. Yeah, I just wanted to let you guys know kind of where I've been. So I'm not gonna lie, this one aspect of German life was one of the biggest things that scared me, because I know I have health issues. I know I have horrendous allergies. It's allergy season right now. And I was so deathly afraid of going to the doctor in German, and not because of Germans, it has nothing to do with Germany at all. It honestly had to do with being in a foreign country and not being fluent in the language, and me personally being able to articulate what's wrong with me. That was the thing that scared me the most. And I really wanted to make this video to put a lot of Americans or Canadians or anybody that is here from another country in Germany. I hope that this video helps to put you at ease. And I hope that this video gives you some clarity and peace of mind when choosing to go to a doctor. And I hope that by the end of this video, you will have that peace of mind that I now personally have. So let's get into the experience. So I got on Google, and I actually used the Stuttgart Friends group to find an ear, nose, and throat doctor in the Weihingen neighborhood, which is where we live. And fortunately, there are several English-speaking doctors in this area that specialize in ear, nose, and throat procedures and that type of medicine. So I was in luck. I ended up finding a really great doctor. His name was Dr. Keitel. I'll leave his information in the description below if you're in the area, because he was outstanding. I've been to several ear, nose, and throat specialists in the US, and Dr. Keitel was amazing. He was an amazing doctor. But now what I want to do is explain to you the entire process of finding a doctor, going to the doctor, and basically any I want to talk about the experience of going to a German pharmacy as well. As I mentioned, got on Google, found Dr. Keitel. He was outstanding. You make an appointment, which is what you do basically, I think, anywhere on the planet, unless you're going into an ER or going into a walk-in clinic. So I made my appointment. They had several openings, which I'm not personally used to. By the way, we used to live in Hawaii, which is obviously an island chain in the Pacific, and we lived on the island of Oahu. So small island, not too many doctors, but a lot of people live there. So it's hard to get in and find openings. And I was actually pretty surprised that in a city as large as Stuttgart, I was able to get seen immediately. Upon entering the doctor's office, so you do have to wear your mask here in Baden-Württemberg, depending on where you are. You don't have to wear it out in public, but if you're in a private business, or if a business chooses to have occupants wear masks, you do have to do so. Fortunately, I didn't come in with the mask, but the ladies were nice enough to give me a mask, which I thought was very friendly and a nice introduction. The ladies at the front desk were absolutely amazing. So in the US, whenever I've gone into the doctor before, and like I've said, I've been to all different types of doctors. My father's actually a radiologist, so I've been around hospitals my entire life. I've received care and treatment from around the US. And it was just actually really, really nice to be greeted and be treated nicely. Even though I don't speak the best German, it was really nice to receive such nice introductions. So filled out my paperwork, did all the insurance, filled out my mailing and billing information. The ladies were just absolutely outstanding. They made everything nice. So another cool thing about Germany, and I'm not so used to this, especially being in the US, because everything is written in English, even though there are millions of Spanish speakers and millions of people from Latin America, Central America, South America that live in the US. Everything is still written in English. So it was actually pretty reassuring here in Germany when I went into the doctor's office. So they had stuff that was written in English, and then obviously they had stuff that was written in German, which I thought was nice. And even though the stuff was written in English, the ladies at the front desk literally went through the entire packet with me to make sure that I was comfortable. They asked me if I had any questions about anything, and they went through it with me. In the US, on the other hand, when you walk into a doctor, it doesn't matter what type of doctor it is. For the most part, you're gonna walk into a waiting room, they're gonna hand you a clipboard, you're gonna fill out that information on your own. No help at all whatsoever. And I just thought that it was pretty nice to have them walk through the information with me, because, you know, a lot of the things that are on there are different than you'd find in the US. Like a lot of the information that they ask, a lot of it is very in-depth because they want to get down to the nitty-gritty and try to, you know, alleviate as much pain or uncomfortableness that you have. And I thought that process was just so different than what I'm used to personally in the US. After finishing my paperwork, I went into the waiting room, waited literally only like 2 minutes, was immediately taken to the back to be seen. Doctor spoke fluent English. He asked me, hey, you know, how can I help you? The very first thing he did was he did a brief introduction of who he was, of what his practice stands for and what they specialize in and how they're here to help me in every way possible. And I was just blown away, right? You know, I've had tons of interactions with doctors and I've received tons of care in the US, but it was just really nice to receive the level of care that I did and to receive the level of assurance and reassurance from this doctor who I had never met before. I didn't talk to him on the phone or anything, but he was really nice. We finally got into the treatment itself. And so treatment wise, you know, obviously it's an ENT. So you are having your nose examined, you're having your sinuses examined, you know, you're having your ears checked, your throat checked, you know, they're making sure that you are okay for the most part in this area, in the head area. Now, I know you may go to the doctor for different reason, broken bones, you know, you might need to see an orthopedic surgeon or whatever. So it's gonna be different than what I've experienced, but from the initial reaction that I had, or from the initial interaction that I had with the doctor, the care was outstanding, right? And so I've heard horror stories, I don't know what it is, I've heard horror stories, especially in the American community, about doctors in Germany. And I'm gonna be honest, I didn't have that. I was terrified walking in there. But at this point in the interaction, everybody was just so nice, and I felt like they actually wanted to help me, which was really, really, really nice. So at this point, you know, the doctor informed me that they would be performing an allergy test, which I've had allergy tests before, but I will say, if you are a person that has allergies, the test that you most likely have had performed in the US, it is completely different than what you will experience here in Germany. Here in Germany, they do it individual. You can actually kind of see my arm here. Sorry if the camera's not picking it up. I'll post a picture right here. But they literally put like individual dots on your arms and they poke you with a needle, like a sharp needle each time. So I got poked about, I think 25 times. And yeah, it was different. It wasn't painful. Like obviously I've got like tattoos and stuff, so it wasn't like super painful, but it was just different, right? And I thought that was pretty different. Right? The US, they try to get you in and out of there real quick because time is money, patients are money. They're trying to get you in and out of there, right? You know, pretty different viewpoint on medicine and healthcare. So yeah, did that, waited like 20 minutes or so, found out that everything was cool for the most part, except trees. I'm allergic to pretty much every tree here in Germany. So at this point, doctor went ahead, pulled me back into, I guess you can call it like the waiting room or whatever room. So there was 2 different rooms, right? So there was the room that I met the doctor in, Dr. Keitel in, and then there was the room where I had the procedure performed. So at this point, I went from the procedure room back into, we'll call it the waiting room, I guess. And that's where the doctor came in with my results and he went over everything and he was like, hey, so, you know, you tested positive for this, you tested negative for this, positive for this. Like he literally went through all 25 things. And yeah, it just was pretty different. You know, in the US, at least every doctor that I've experienced, and you got to keep in mind, so I've been to doctors in Florida, which is where I'm from. I've been to doctors in Georgia, Illinois, California, Arizona, Hawaii. So I've been in different regions of the US, and for the most part, whenever you have a procedure performed, they're just, obviously they want to make sure that you're okay, but the end goal is to get the patient out of the door and have their issue resolved, like as soon as possible. Germany, I feel like it's a little bit different, and actually for me, it was a little bit uncomfortable, not in a bad way, but just uncomfortable at the amount of time that I was there. I'm like, man, this is like, I feel like I'm here longer than I should be. But at the same time, I was receiving care and receiving this transparent attitude and charisma from the staff that I'm not personally used to. Like, you know, obviously my dad works in medicine, and like he is one of the most charismatic people that I've ever met. It honestly felt like I was there with my dad, and that's what made me so comfortable. And that's what I was so afraid of at first, is like you hear that Germans are so cold and so mean, and like they put their nose up at you, and it's like that is all lies and BS. And going to the doctor like completely changed my outlook on medicine, and it really helped make me feel comfortable at the end of the day. At this point, we're obviously at the end of the interaction. I went to the front desk with the nice ladies. Actually, quick thing, I didn't even mention this. The ladies at the front desk were actually the ones that performed the allergy test, which I thought was also something that is so mind-blowing. So essentially the secretaries were doubling as nurses as well, which was just crazy. So in the US, I've never had the person working at the front counter, I've never even had them touch me at all. They don't take my temperature, you know, they don't take my heart rate, they don't take my BMI, they don't take my weight, they don't take anything. They just sign you in, you go see this next person, and then typically after that, you'll see the doctor or the head physician in the building. And I just thought that it was crazy that these ladies were doing everything. They were doing intake, you know, they were doing the procedure, they were, you know, they were doing everything. There were literally hurricanes running around that office. But I thought that that was pretty cool, but also pretty different than what I'm used to being in the US. So now at the end of the visit, you go to the front counter, and you just kind of recap the visit. Hey, are you okay? Like, do you have any more questions? What can we do to help? So furthermore, just making sure that you as the patient are okay and comfortable and taken care of. And you know, I'm starting to take my card out and take out my information, which is what I'm used to doing in the US, because usually when you have a procedure performed, if it's outpatient for the most part, or if it's like a dental visit, they will either charge you on the spot, which is what I'm used to. I'm used to getting charged on the spot. And if it's a more intense procedure, they'll actually bill you. Here in Germany, at least the doctor that I went to, they only bill you out. There's no copay charge that you have to pay that day. They're gonna send all of that to you in the mail. Now, they couldn't go over costs with me at all. I'm pretty sure it's gonna be about the same that it is in the US, even though generally healthcare in Germany is a lot cheaper than it is in the US. The US has some of the highest healthcare costs on the planet, which is so odd. Wealthiest country on the planet, one of the wealthiest countries on the planet, highest healthcare and pharmaceutical costs on the planet. It's just so mind-blowing. And so I'm actually excited to get my bill and see what it is. You know, if it's under $100, I'll be happy, because I had a lot done. Well, I had a test performed, which in the US, I know allergy tests are not cheap. They cost a lot. In fact, when I lived in Florida, my allergy test, it was like $800. It's absurd. So I'm excited to see, and obviously that's without insurance, but I'm excited to see what the cost difference is gonna be here in Germany. And so after my visit, I left, and obviously they give you a prescription. Most of the time, depending on what you're in for, you may not receive a prescription, but because I was so sick and because I still am kind of sick, I actually ended up getting a prescription to go to the pharmacy. And so pharmacies here in Germany are so different than they are in the US, at least from what I've experienced personally. So I ended up going to the pharmacy the next day, which is actually today. I literally just went to the pharmacy today. I got the meds and stuff with me today. And it first off, you wait in a long line, which I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, because I see a lot of people at pharmacies. I see lines out the door at pharmacies here in the Stuttgart area. So I'm not saying that's a bad thing. At least people are actually caring about their health or caring about themselves to get the treatment that they need. But oh man, lines are long at pharmacies here. So I waited in line. I ended up seeing the lady who was very nice. The pharmacist was excellent. So one of the medications that I needed, they actually didn't have it. Now, she asked me if I wanted it shipped, or she told me that there was an alternative that literally had the same ingredients and had basically the same exact stuff, the same exact concoction that the doctor prescribed. They had it there today. So what I thought was cool, she took both of the packages and she showed me like, hey, this has this, this has this, this has this. Never experienced that anywhere in the US. I've never had that much of an in-depth interaction with a pharmacist, right? Typically, I show the pharmacist in the US my prescription, they grab it off the cart. Hey, you need to do this, you need to do that. All right, see you, bye. This lady went through every ingredient with me, told me exactly how to take it, when to take it, some of the side effects that I might experience. It was just mind-blowing, like really mind-blowing. And then again, I know I mentioned it earlier, but it just kind of makes you feel uncomfortable, because it's like, I just kind of want to get in and get out, because that's what I'm used to, right? But it's just realizing that this person genuinely cares about my health and my well-being, that they're going above and beyond to make sure that I know everything about these prescriptions that I'm going to be taking for a few months. So I just thought that that was really nice and really different. And yeah, it was pretty interesting. So like, coming from the US, you know, a place where healthcare is such a controversial topic. This is not a political channel. I'm not gonna like talk to you too crazy about what I feel about the American healthcare system. I just will tell you that it's just different. The American healthcare system is so different. And like, I've been injured in other countries before. I've had friends injured in other countries. And it's just always the narrative that I hear about people receiving treatment from other countries is that it is so simple, it is so cheap, and their issue gets fixed immediately. So the US, that's not necessarily the case. And I have family, obviously, my father, you know, that work in healthcare. My dad's a radiologist. I have cousins that, you know, are pharmacists and dentists and so on and so forth. And it's just, man, it's different. It's different receiving healthcare and receiving treatment in the US. And here in Germany, this is only my first experience. Man, it is just such a relief, and it is so refreshing to be in a place where, man, they're here for you. They're here to take care of you. And, you know, yeah, Germany's the third largest economy. You know, it's a capitalist system. It's different here. It's different in a good way. I mean, they're here to help you. And I think Germany's viewpoint on health is so different from the US, in that you're not just seen as a number or seen as a dollar bill or seen as a euro. They actually care about you. The more people that they have healthy out in the world, out in the economy, it helps Germany in the long run. And I think that was clearly evident in my experience at this ear, nose, and throat doctor. I'm just really excited to, you know, get to a primary physician. And I'm not gonna lie, I was truly terrified of going to the doctor here in Germany. And as I mentioned earlier, it had nothing to do with Germany. It had nothing to do with doctors in Germany. It just had to do with me being able to articulate the issues that I had to an individual that isn't a native English speaker. So, and this could have happened anywhere. This could have happened in, you know, the Netherlands. This could have happened in France, even though I speak French pretty well. But I will say, if you are an individual that needs to go to the doctor, and you live in Germany and you're an American citizen, or if you're DOD, or if you work on base or anything of that sort, just please know that you are going to have a flawless experience for the most part. So I hope this doesn't rub anybody the wrong way. Like I said, I come from a family of physicians and people that have worked in healthcare. And this isn't meant to be like a smear on the US. And hopefully people in the US are watching this video and are like, man, like this is how it should be. Because it shouldn't cost you an arm and a leg to receive treatment. Like if you need help, you should just be able to go into a place, tell them what's wrong, and get what you need. And that's what I experienced here in Germany. Keep in mind, capitalist country, third largest economy on the planet. They're doing something right here. They truly care about the people. And I thought my experience was flawless. Something that I was deathly afraid to experience was super smooth, and I don't have any complaints. It was all great. So I know that was a little bit longer of a video, but I wanted to share with you guys my experience of visiting the doctor here in Germany. So if you guys have any other questions about life here in Germany, please do not hesitate to hit me up in the comments section below. We're coming up on our 3-month anniversary of living here in Germany. And so probably one of the next videos that I'm gonna make here in the future is about everything that I've experienced here in Germany over the 3 months. So we're gonna talk about a lot. We're gonna talk about this experience. We're not gonna talk about it too in depth, but we're gonna talk about everything that I've experienced and the differences between living in the US and living here, and some things that are the same, some things that are not the same. We're gonna talk about it all. So if you enjoyed this video and if you enjoyed Germany related content, I really want people to realize that Germany is truly a great place. It's an amazing place. It's different. It's very different than what you're used to, most likely. Even if you're from Europe, Germany's a pretty different country. And I mean that in the best way possible. It's not a bad thing. They're doing some really great things here. So as always, thank you guys for the continued love and support. My wife, son, and I are heading to München tomorrow. Really excited for that. So, as always, thank you guys for the love and support. Thank you. Mahalo for watching.